Oh man, my man. Glad to be on the phone with you here. Hey, here's what I'm thinking about right now. The main thing that is going through my mind right now is the idea of making a decision and making a decision what way this situation is going to go for me, irrespective of circumstances. There is a lot going on right now. It's stressful. Whoever you are watching this, you've probably experienced some kind of stress, cortisol, anxiety running through your body for some period of time, for some circumstance, for some reason. Everybody has experienced that on some level. It's normal. But what I'm really clear on is that I cannot live in that state. I cannot stay in that state. It is exhausting, and everybody is going to get exhausted if they're not there already. So the thing to do right now is to make a decision of how this is going to go. Not because you can predict the future. Jeremy, I have no idea where this is going to go. And honestly, it's relatively disinteresting to me to try and statistically compute odds and parabolic curves and probabilities. That is also exhausting and useless because I'm not a statistician. But what I do know is that I can make a decision right now, and I can make an assessment, and I can commit to what is the best choice for where I am at and where I want to go, irrespective of outcomes. And here's what I mean by that. Good decisions are not judged on the basis of the outcome after the fact. Deciding to build a ski resort in Miami and that there being a freak blizzard after the fact, creating one profitable season, does not justify that decision. But having a winning lotto ticket does not mean that we would deem buying lotto tickets as being a good, sound fiscal investment. You can qualify or you can judge the quality of a decision in the moment based on whether or not it adheres to your core key principles, whatever those are. For me right now, the decision that needs to be made is getting back up on the horse and committing to control the things that I can commit, which is my routine, my habits, my beliefs, how I show up around the people around me, and committing to what I want to create in the world, whether that's with my family, whether or not that's with my work colleagues, or whether or not that is with my clients. I am looking for the things that I can control right now. That's what I'm committed to right now. Where are you at, man?
Yeah, I think it's all about, understanding what you can be certain about, right? We are faced with so much uncertainty. I don't have a magic ball. I don't know how long this thing will go. But one thing you've heard me say a lot, Jordan, is that I'm willing to bet my reputation that at some point things will get back to normal, right? I don't know if it's 6 days from now and this whole thing doesn't work out the way it was, if it's more like 6 weeks, if it's more like 6 months, 6 years, right? Like we've been through after the financial, meltdown, and I've led through that, right? So I have no idea what the timing is, but the one variable that I'm willing to be certain about is that at some point things will get back to normal. So what are we doing as leaders? We are thinking through different scenarios. We are thinking through what would need to happen in a worst case scenario to survive. But once I get that on paper, my mind is immediately, how do I come out of this thing thriving, right? Where's the opportunity? What is the new reality that I'm fairly certain in? I am very happy that, this business is based on something called housing, which I don't think is going to go away anytime. Essentially people need, great homes to live in and to protect their family more than ever. And that's the environment that we choose to do business in. I feel for my entrepreneur friends who are in the travel business, the event planning business. I'm in, a close-knit entrepreneur organization down here in South Florida, and I'm watching the news feed of them letting us know, I laid off half my staff. I laid off 75% of my staff. I'm liquidating everything because my business will not survive the year. I don't believe that to be true if you're in property management, specifically residential property management. And so all we can do is know what we're willing to be certain on and build from there. So those are the building blocks that I'm making my decisions on.
Everybody is going to make it through this. Generally speaking, I'm confident about that. I do not believe that this is going to be a zombie apocalypse. I just don't. So in light of the fact that we're going to make it through it, some people are going to have it much harder than others. It's definitely going to be some challenges. But what I'm thinking about is playing the long game. Where am I going to be 2 years from now, looking back, and what am I going to be able to say about how I went through it, how I proceeded day to day. Everybody is taking an L right now. This is a net loss. Unless you shorted the market, unless you're selling dry canned goods, unless you have shares in Costco, you're taking an L right now. And when that happens, what do you tell your kid? The kid loses soccer game, kid loses the match. I don't know about you, Jeremy, but I remember some moments. I remember playing chess on the couch with my dad and being in a losing position and accidentally tipping the board over. I was 7. I don't want to be doing that as an adult. I want to be able to walk through this and to be proud of how I conducted myself in the moment, knowing that my integrity and my reputation is the only fungible thing across all circumstances. If you burn the whole thing down, my character, my integrity, and my will, that is what I take to the next opportunity and I carry into the future. So that's the thing I'm concerned about stewarding right now, as opposed to trying to grip and cling to money or opportunity. Loss aversion drives people. I don't know about you, man, but I'm thinking right now, like I'm having to kind of work through some thoughts of what I deserve or what I'm entitled to. 2019 was a hell of a year, man. Like we had a good year, and we went into 2020 with some high expectations. I want to not be defeatist, and I don't want to capitulate, but at the same time, there is not value in my mind in clinging to the way that things should have gone. You feel me?
100%, man. I mean, this is who watches a movie where everything goes right and there's no adversity, right? Like the only thing that makes a story worth telling are the challenges, And, I don't want to get too stoic on you, right? But the only place to find peace is in death, man. Life is about adversity and challenge, right? Either, you've got air in your lungs, you're here, you can actually live up to this scenario. And so, these would be the stories we tell our grandkids, right? On top of everything else we've been through in the last 2 decades, which has been pretty crazy. So, I just want to make sure I'm writing a story of victory and getting ahead, not in just clinging and holding on and trying not to die. And so I've been through enough adversity in my entrepreneurial career. Can't believe to say that I've been doing this 20 years, but 9/11, financial crisis, right? Wars. This has been crazy times. Each one in the moment seems just as unique and black swanish as what we're looking at, but we will prevail, right? And there will not be a zombie apocalypse. And if there is a zombie apocalypse, maybe we're all in the best industry, Jordan, and we just everyone's just going to stay home anyway and try to find the nicest house they can.
Fortify behind forts of toilet paper.
Yes.
Taking one day, one step, one moment, one breath, staying up on the horse and choosing to commit to move forward.
Yeah.
People can smell.
Moving forward confidently is contagious, right? That's the other thing I want to say.
That's it, right? Baby.
I mean, you know what? We don't know what's going to happen, but I'm still going to move forward confidently, and I'm going to commit to my decisions. I'm going to get as much information as I can. I'm going to take a stance, right? And I am going to move forward confidently, and I know that will attract other people along the route.
Fear is contagious, and so is optimism. Everybody is a buyer in any situation or any transaction. There's a seller and there's a buyer. When you're the buyer, when you have a BATNA, a best alternative to negotiated agreement, that means that you hold the no card and that you can and will place it down if you choose to do so. And if you're not the buyer in a situation, then you're a seller, and you know what that situation is like. You start getting nervous and you start talking over yourself because you're desperate. And somebody else smells that, and what do they say? They want more, and they want to cram you down further. They want to commodify you further. So you want to be the buyer in life and in every situation. And in this situation right now, it's the same opportunity. You're going to be having sales conversations. You're still going to be talking to prospects. If you're listening to this and you're in property management, you know you have a churn rate. You know that all things being equal, you lose customers every single month of the year. And if you are not adding any customers, you are losing customers. And so in that sense, the truism that if you're not growing, you're dying is literally mathematically true and has heightened significance in this season. So you know you're still going to be having sales conversations. And you know when you have them, you're either going to be approaching those already having given up, well, this deal probably isn't going to go anywhere. They're probably not going to commit. The prospect probably isn't ready to buy. Either you're making the excuses for them on their behalf and interacting with them, or you're spending your time telling yourself why this actually is the best time and truly believing it. The reality is we don't know where this is going to go, but we are going to have substitutionary default placeholder beliefs that are made up, and they're made up based on nothing other than what you want to believe. And my advice and my encouragement right now is to insert the beliefs that are most incongruent and are most likely to create the results that you want. Jeremy, one of the reasons that I love working with you is that I know you buy into this premise that we can't know the future. And so I'm really more interested in effective versus not effective versus accurate versus not accurate, given that the latter is very hard to speak to. You feel me?
I feel you 100%. And you know what, at the end of the day, sometimes to get shit done, you gotta bend the universe to your will, right? You gotta be willing to say, I'm not going to let this happen to me. I'm gonna go happen to everything around me, right? And actually be that force. And so, that has never not served me, Jordan, in any area of my life. And so right now, we need leaders more than ever, right? And so different individuals of us are going to have different experiences through this whole situation. Some will be catastrophic. Like I said, some will come out actually better off than they were. And it's all going to come down to the choices you make, the strategies that you implement, and how hard you're willing to work. And so that's what I want to encourage everybody is go out and bend the universe to your will and make something good happen.
And I don't know if it's a higher bar or if it's a lower bar right now, Jeremy. What I know is that people are expecting bad things to happen. So it kind of feels like it's a lower bar. It's a higher bar in the sense that it's more challenging just to manage your own mental perspective and energy right now. But when you put that positive energy out there, and your staff in particular knows that you're not just blindly ignorant of what's happening, you are paying attention, but you're choosing to project positivity, opportunity, and that you're going to survive and make it through this, your staff is going to act accordingly. If you're holed up in your office hoarding toilet paper, then people are going to assume that the best strategy is to hoard and to grab onto things. And your staff is going to start hedging against you. How long until I get fired? What do I do? Should I take time off? Is there any loose money around? What do I do? You do not want to be in that situation. You do not want to work in an office environment that starts to feel like Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, agreed. There is a saying that I'm going to totally get wrong, but I love the essence of it. And when you're on a ship and you're faced with a storm or pirates, if everybody on the ship is convinced that death is certain, then nobody will be there to take charge. It only takes a single person on that ship to stay in control and confident that they'll survive. And that kind of confidence starts to spread and take over, and everybody rises to the occasion. And so we have to be the captain of our ships right now, right? We don't want to be rose-colored glasses. We don't want to be ignorant to things, but we do want to be thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead of everybody and not reacting to whatever the latest press conference is or the news or whatever we think is going to happen. I mean, at the end of the day, most of us have not built our business on sand. We are not over leveraged to the hilt. We are not banking on the stock market or financing. We are banking on very tangible, fundamental needs of human society, and that's not going anywhere.
Let's talk about the folks that do have something built on sand. If you were already leveraged, if you don't have margin, if you were in a position where the system was already under a lot of load and strain, and then this happened, I'm talking about the person who was building homes or aggressively flipping homes in the middle of 3 home flip projects in 2008. There are some people that are going to get caught with their pants down, and as the tide goes out, we're going to see what's what on the ocean floor. The reality is, no matter whether or not you feel like you were in a better position or a worse position, at the end of the day, you have to make a commitment right now about whether or not you are going to choose to survive. You do have a choice. You could proactively shut down. You could proactively fire everybody, hold on to your cash, hope that you could make it through, do some part-time work on Odesk. That is a strategy. Or you can choose to press on. But it is first and foremost a commitment that you have to make that is not anchored to anything other than your personal beliefs and will. And I really feel like that's what all other things flow out of in light of how much uncertainty there is right now.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as making a list of what you think everybody else is going to do. What are people thinking? What are they going to be doing? And then how can you do the exact opposite, right? That is always a fantastic strategy. Blue ocean strategy, maverick leadership, whatever label you want to put on it. When, you know, Warren Buffett is famous for saying his favorite time to buy is when there's blood in the streets, right? So there is going to be blood in the streets, right? What is the default behavior? Most people will only invest enough mental energy in looking around and watching what everybody else is doing and basically flocking like sheep. Let's understand what everybody else is going to do, and maybe there's a way to go the other way, right? And to actually take advantage of this whole situation. Easy to say, hard to do, counterintuitive to human nature. By nature, we've evolved to fit in, to survive, right? To do what everybody else is doing, but that's not what you get paid for. The market will reward you for the courage to go out there and innovate and do something differently. And at the end of the day, guys, whatever, you know, policies and procedures that were untouchable in peacetime start to become pretty negotiable in the time of war. And so let's take a look at everything we've, you know, cemented as untouchable, and start thinking about innovating on those things. And that's what I want to encourage everybody to do. That's what I'm thinking about, right? What are the things that we take for granted as truths, and which of these can actually be negotiated on?
To summarize, you cannot defense your way out of this situation. Going into the bomb shelter is not a high certainty, high positive outcome, high risk mitigation strategy. You still have to figure out how to stay on offense and how to continue to march forward. We're wishing you guys the best. We're working through it ourselves. There's a lot of things to figure out, taking it one day at a time. But my encouragement to you is to find some mentors and some peers and some people that want to believe that things are going to work out, as opposed to congregating with people that want to foment hysteria. You can lose money in the market at the top of the market when there's too much optimism, and you can lose money at the bottom of the market when there's too much hysteria. There is absolutely a point where the level of negativity and pessimism and hysteria is going to exceed the worst possible outcome. And when that happens, people are going to be making money. In this climate, in this situation, in the next 90 days, people are going to get back into the market and take a position that is going to catapult them into success 24 months from now and 36 months from now. And they're going to have to survive to be able to cash that check in the future. But there is an opportunity here in this next 90 days. And if you don't believe that, you're simply not paying attention. And you're going to get the results follow that lack of belief. Hey,
you're right?
Whether you believe it or not, you're right. I love it. All right, my man.
Always good. Take care.